What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today we are back on the Pioneer test server because there's one part of this update that is already live on Pioneer and is going to be live on Global pretty soon that I haven't shown yet. So the thing is, we are going to receive 2 more heroes that have the Supreme Plus abilities leveled up. And this is the same as we saw it on Mirael or Soren, for example. And the next 2 heroes that are going to get it are Salazar and Satrana. And in this video specifically, I want to take a look at Salazar, because Salazar is a hero that many have already recommended to me that I shall use because they say, well, he is stronger than people think. And I tried him out today and I have to say, yeah, you guys are right. I just destroyed my entire friend list with this guy. It was quite insane, I have to say. We of course have met Paragon 4 here, equal footing for everybody on Pioneer, which is pretty cool, so no Paragon differences. The upgrade that he's going to get to Supreme Plus ability, Enhance Force, again, you get that by using Shadow Essence, which you get from the season quests. Right up here, there is the Shadow Essence that you use to enhance those abilities, so you have to collect that first. And then Salazar gets a new ability, which gives him a shield every time a hero that is bound by his spirit shackles is defeated, and that is a huge shield. And I just want to show you guys a gameplay of me using that. So as you can see, I went on quite a rampage here in my friend list. We also fought the team that we saw in recent videos quite sometimes from Derek's Jake once again with Athalia in there, and this is probably the most impressive gameplay here. You can see 46 billion damage from Salazar, and this is not the impressive part. Look at that, 117 million damage tanked. And you will see that this Athalia did their absolutely best job trying to defeat this guy and just couldn't make it happen. So we have Ice Guard spell in place. I made a video about this if you want to check it out. I wanted to make a tank team. We have Callan in place for extra sustain twins. And the way this works is I put the twins in there. I put the twin that doesn't move in the range of Callan to make them extra tanky. And together with Ludovic, you have nearly invulnerability for those. This is quite insane actually. Salazar over here defeating the first enemies. The Siren gets sniped because initially he does more damage than the Salazar actually, but Salazar already got the first shield from his ability. I used that to activate Ice Guard spell on him. He now has the Ice Guard spell effect, and you can see just how little damage he takes when he's actually hit. By the Athalia, just unable to get through his HP bar and the shield, and then he already has the next shield. And this is quite the madness how much really was tanked in this fight. The Athalia now only Lance. We now have to take care of that Ludovic. The damage potential of this team isn't super high, I have to say that. Like, the Siren is really the big damage dealer here. Salazar takes a lot of time to deal damage, but it is quite rare to see a fight that long in the current meta, and we are at 47 seconds, and we only lost 1 single hero, and this is absolutely crazy. So Salazar in the end turns out to be the max damage dealer. What I did here, by the way, I already got him some hero charms. He also has a charm that gives him a shield, which is really great to use together with Ice Guard spell. And we can also check this out before we check out the other battles. Maybe do a live battle as well. The game recommends to you to use the Bear Charm, which gives you HP and Vitality. And I mean, there isn't much that speaks against using Vitality on this guy, because, well, if you get the extra shield, it is kind of nice. We can check out Vitality in the defensive stats. It also buffs the received shields and healing, of course. So, is kind of good. I personally went for Skill Power and Haste. Skill Power and Haste in this situation has the positive side that we kind of have a lot of stuff that gets buffed through skill power. So as we have it right here, first of all, we buff the Enraptured Whip, and Enraptured Whip is a very important ability for him. So we get a lot of extra damage for this, and this works well in synergy with his Mythic Plus ability, with this, which is Soul Drench. Immerses himself in the power of the spirits and casts Enraptured Whip 1 time without cooldown when a battle starts or an enemy is imprisoned. So every time we imprison an enemy or the battle starts, we can cast Enraptured Whip. And we get an additional damage here. We get additional life drain, which is really, really good because we kind of like to have a little bit of HP recovery. just to keep him alive. The shield alone can protect us against a lot, but not against all of the damage. So having the HP recover fairly quickly is pretty good. And we get to buff that by just buffing Enraptured Whip with skill power. So I definitely prefer that. Also, the imprisoning of the enemies, which is really an important part. He can always imprison one enemy. And this is like a pretty good form of crowd control, where he imprisons an enemy for 5 seconds, unable to move or act, which we can also buff with skill power and bring that to 11 seconds. And what that usually leads to, which I noticed, is that the enemy really doesn't get out. Just like gets CC'd, and before they ever get back into the battle, they are defeated. And we can kind of keep an eye open for that in the other battles that I already did. Maybe we also check out the battle. Which one was interesting? We also have the Kinshana battle. That is against Cryonaya and against Athalia. Same team. We see Siren this time with a little bit more damage. And keep an eye out for the CC. Maybe I can point it out to you. There we go. Those swords. This is the CC. And really takes a long time. It's not really 11 seconds, but there it is on the next hero. And what we also saw there quite nicely was the effect of the Graveborn skill. The Graveborn skill that actually explodes the soul of heroes that they damaged with the skill. So that was also something that we saw over here. Maybe watch it again, because this was a way shorter fight. Get the first CC over here. RCC for quite some time. It's not really 11 seconds, but there is another one over here. And there is the soul explosion from the skill. Really, really great. In this situation, I mean, where is our Salazar? We can't really see it. He has a huge shield. Did you see that? That was just such a huge shield. And that is really from his last ability. And in combination with the Mythic Charm there, where we get those super huge shields. Then also very, very interesting, Atraxi. That is the same team that we lost against yesterday. That is the same team that we lost against yesterday with the Khafra team. The Khafra team couldn't make it against this. This is a very powerful team. This is a team that uses Stormstrike spell, which we can counter with Siren, which is very, very, very good. But it also uses the Wildertal. And one thing that I said was, what you essentially have to do to defeat the Wildertal is you have to sustain a little bit. And this team is kind of great at sustaining, because we have this Callan damage reduction at the start, we have Ludovic here, we have all of that, so the enemy really isn't able to do a whole lot there. Salazar can really survive well on his own, and we already sat through the entire immunity phase of this enemy team. Siren once again gets sniped by Athalia. Happens very, very often, but I mean, at this point he really was useful enough. Athalia on her own, still very, very scary in this situation, actually able to snipe our Salazar. This was a very close call, I have to say. And now we defeat her with Ludovic damage. And the interesting thing here at the end also, people were always worried about the twins surviving, but due to those enemies having such specific targeting on the highest damage dealer, actually nothing happened to them and they survived to the end, while heroes like Siren that, well, deal them a lot of damage, or especially Salazar is a lot more tanky, just died earlier. But still, I think we did a pretty good job against this team. I don't know how well we would do in general against it. We can try fighting it one more time. I think the team of Atraxi was the team where I was, yeah, like, most afraid, because it was so close, the battle. You can see we have the Lorsan mark. Essentially, in my opinion, that is essentially countered, because, well, this one twin will stay in the vicinity of Callan. Callan will take damage away from the twin, and then we have Ludovic to heal them up. So the combination of those makes it really hard for him to get anything out of that Lorsan mark. I think this Lorsan mark will essentially just go away without having a huge effect. And yeah, we have to see how that works out. Like, we get pretty big damage at the start due to the Graveborn skill that pretty much takes him out immediately. We take pretty good care of the Lily May, take pretty good care of the enemies again, and let's see, within 10 seconds we have already established like a very, very good position. And then really the Athalia comes into play, hitting us with the ult, and that is where it really, really hurts, I have to say. and she's still alive, and she can take care again of him. And she again took care of our Salazar. So kind of similar outcome here. The question of course remains, can we get a win here? And I am not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure, because right now we get hit with another ult. Twins gone. And this time around we really get pretty much soloed by this Athalia, which is insane. Which is really, really insane. Yeah. Soloed by the Athalia on this attempt. She had to kind of like go ahead and clear it for the rest of the team, because the rest of the team really didn't support her very much. We were pretty effective at taking down the Tazi and the Talene and keeping them from doing anything. But Athalia, and that is really one of her strengths, has a lot of soloing potential, like with all the invincibility phases that she has, with the huge burst that can burst through all those defensive layers. I think another team with another damage dealer would have had a tough time taking out the Salazar. It's such a shield value, but she can do that. And yeah, that is something that I was a bit afraid of, that we could really lose against such a team. We also have something like this. This is pretty much the standard team that was set here. I don't think we should probably show that right here. And then I fought Alpha again. Alpha here with the very interesting team with Gerda, which I really, really like. No skill though active, so it's a little bit unfair, and still we are going to show it, just because it is a pretty quick fight. It is a pretty quick fight, showcasing that with Siren alone on the team you still have a bunch of damage potential. So that is something that I thought very, very interesting. The best fight was probably against Daremonix Jake, but I also like how we can really sustain against those wilder teams, and I think that is a very, very interesting team to use. I saved it here as a formation. I can't share that formation with you because that's of course a Paragon formation on the Pioneer server. Looks like this, and essentially the only idea that you really have to follow is you want to have the twin with the blue hair, that is the one that doesn't move, within 2 tiles of the Callan, and then we just put the Callan and the Salazar in one line to buff them both, because we really want to have quick regeneration of the ult on the Callan while just providing Salazar with some extra buffs. Of course we get the extra ult, that is really, really nice, but the extra buffs are really what makes that, what makes him good in this situation. And then Ludovic, of course, great in this position, and then we have Siren. Is this team prone to anything? Well, we really didn't adjust much for positioning or for this to be a defensive team. Like, for a defensive team, what you always want to do is you want to make sure that your enemy can't really take away one of the heroes with a Rainier or swap over a Harak or something. That is something that didn't really play a role here, that we really didn't do. This is more designed to be an offensive team. If you want to make it a defensive team as well, you would kind of have to adjust it a little bit. But one thing that it also shows, and that I want to keep in mind, it kind of shows how good Callan can really be. And for myself, I was thinking when he was released if I want to go and P3 him. And at this point in time, I have to say I regret not doing that, because I can see that being meta. I can see that being meta. Regarding the upgrade on the enhanced force of Salazar, it is really a small thing. It is really a small thing, but it is such a huge shield that he gains, and actually fixes his squishiness to an extent that I like it. I really like this one. This one is a great upgrade, not like providing him with huge damage or anything, but the extra shield certainly helps him survive. So I think this is one of the best ones so far. I think Mirael was like the #1 for me, and then I would definitely see this on place 2. So that is one thing, if you have Salazar, that you definitely can look out for, and that will definitely be a nice upgrade. And maybe you can even make use of it and make a Graveborn PvP team. Maybe with the formation that I've shown, would be kind of interesting, uses some interesting heroes. Also, I asked yesterday in the video about heroes that you still want to see, and I got some suggestions. One hero that we'll definitely also going to do is Burial. You guys suggested that, and I thought it's a great idea, because we'll never see this guy at P4 on my account until we have the opportunity, so we will do that. And then Reese was also suggested, Parisa was suggested, and I am not too sure if I can make Reese work, for example. I don't think so, but I will try it. I will try to find a team, and maybe if I really can't make a hero work that you guys suggest, then we will just make one video with like 4 or 5 of the heroes that I can't make work. If I find a great team, I will show it. So, that being said, If you guys want, you can of course always support me by going to lootbar.gg through the link in the description. That is an affiliate link, so I'll get a little bit of a percent share, and you can get some cheaper dragon crystals there, so it's a win-win. And if you register through my link, you get an 8% discount coupon, I think it is. And soon there will also be a 3% discount coupon on top of that for everybody that subscribes, so that registers through the link, so that will be great as well. And other than that, I hope you had a great time with the video. I hope Salazar surprised you as much as he surprised me here. And maybe we'll see sustain meta coming up. I would love to see some of those teams on the main server, on the global server. We'll see if that happens. And I wish you a great day. I'll see us in the next one.